As we come through lots of interesting features for the future, the folks at Blender Foundation have just released Blender 3.4. This is the much anticipated release of the last quarter of the year, and this promises to feature a good set of improvements and quality of life features for sculpting, grease pencil, rendering, modeling and UV, and geometry nodes. With a few cleanups here and there, this new release is more of a complimentary release to prepare artists for the next phase of features coming to Blender 3.5. In modeling, the subdivision surface modifier and nodes performance have been improved to avoid quadratic runtime for loose edges when meshes with loose edges are subdivided. And for UV, 3.4 also ships with some nice updates for UV editing. A new geometry-based relax brush has been included to help improve the quality of UV mapping by making the UVs more closely follow the 3D geometry. And to support this new brush, there has been updates to the UV sculpting and UV relax tools with an additional update to the UV grab tool, which now supports live unwrap. There's also a new randomized island and UV align rotation operator. Alongside these, there is a show UV grid over the top of the image, a new option to use pixel spacing for UV grid with some other additional improvements to UV packing, selection, and a couple of bug fixes. The sculpting section also have a couple of TLC with this release, and to me these updates look more like a project developers will develop sort of update, but with that said, the sculpting branch bags improvements to performance and memory usage when facets, hiding, and masking are in use. Along with this, there's a significant performance improvement for the projecting attributes when using the voxel remesher. Although with this, the major release for sculpting deals with masking, auto-masking to be specific. There's a new pop-over auto-masking menu that manages all of the auto-masking options. With various options to choose from, sculpting artists can now rest easy with these. For example, instead of manually creating a cavity mask, the auto-masking feature provides a faster way of painting and sculpting with cavity. With additional controls to invert, blur, and also make a couple of changes, this for sure will be well received by Blender sculpting artists. There's also some additional auto-masking features that includes the view normal and aerial normal. Something else that is pretty cool is face sets are now opt-in, meaning that primitive objects do not have a face set attribute by default. As a result, when objects are being joined together or model changes are made within the edit mode, any new geometry will not automatically be assigned a face set. This in turn will be improving performance and removing visual clutter when not used. With the grease pencil pioneering the way for 2D and 3D content interaction within a single DCC app, Blender 3.4 makes a good mark with a nice new set of features, and this includes SVG import, which now allows importation of several files in one single operation, a new outliner operator that converts strokes to perimeter, a new outliner option at brush level that converts to outline the last stroke drawn, a new start point operator to define the start point for cyclic strokes, and the fill tool have been improved with a new algorithm to close gaps. And the fill tool just works in a very interesting way, so you no longer need to go all full circle to sort of make that perfect circle. This is definitely going to be very useful for grease pencil artists, so instead of going one after the other making sure that you have all of those tiny gaps closed, you can simply use this new fill tool to get things going for you. And for modifiers, there's a new outline modifier to generate perimeter stroke from camera view. This is going to be very useful for 2D artists that would like to integrate 3D models within their shots. There's a new chain mode in the time offset modifier. Additionally, the Python API now have a new trace frame parameter in trace operator. And for storyboarding artists, there's a brand new grease pencil add-on made available by Daniel Martinez Lara of Pepe Animation School and Matthias Mendiola. This makes it easy for artists to make new scenes, add them to their timeline, update, and make changes on the fly. As geometry nodes continues to advance with more features, development, and nodes, a good number of robust nodes and implementation are with Blender 3.4, offering a newer and faster evaluation system. With the new viewer node giving creators the ability to preview geometries and attributes in the viewport as well as the spreadsheet, as users can now preview specific nodes by clicking and linking them up to the viewer instead of the final group output node. The transfer attribute node has been removed and split into multiple more specific nodes, and these include the sample index, sample nearest, and sample nearest surface. And in the node editor, assets are now visible in the add menus, and the user interface of the node editor has also had a couple of facelifts, including the addition of duplicate linked operator and user preference options for node tree duplication. There are several improvements that can be seen within the mesh, curve, volume, instance, and performance of the geometry node with addition to the new evaluation system. And of course, there's a good number of nodes which would definitely be useful for a couple of users, and this includes the face set boundary, edge to vertex, face to corner, corner, self node, offset point in curve, distribute point in volume, and so much more. And for rendering enthusiasts working with cycles, path guiding is now here. This feature improves the sampling quality of individual paths, reducing the noise in complex lighting scenarios such as long indirect light bounces, indirect illuminated shadows, or reflected light sources. At the moment, the path guiding is only available for CPU rendering and can be enabled in the rendering properties panel under sampling, where you get to find the path guiding. This current implementation supports guiding on surfaces with the diffuse BSDF components as well as inside volumes. And for GPU rendering, there is now support for Apple Metal, AMD HIP, NVIDIA, and Intel One API. Accompanying these updates for cycles, there's an upgrade to the Open Shader language which has now been updated to version 1.12.6. There's also some sampling improvement, a new baking option, and some updates to the attribute nodes. And with this release, Eevee has just one tiny update. The update has to do with headless rendering, which is now supported under Linux. And this simply means that Linux users can now render on servers or systems without a display setup. This feature is currently only available for Linux as EGL is not used on both Mac and Windows. And taking a look at Blender's core, pipeline, input and output, there's a good number of features that are now in Blender 3.4. Metaballs are now evaluated as meshes. The OBJ importer now has a global scaling factor option, which is pretty impressive. There's a support for extracting frames from WebM videos that dramatically changes resolution. Font loading and thumbnails have been improved, as this new release now avoids loading fonts that are not actually used. And for video rendering, there's a support for FFmpeg AV1 codec encoding. The GLTF import and export also got a nice overview improvement, and for thumbnails, you can now create preview thumbnails of WebP images a little quicker while using less RAM. The OBJ export now supports PBR extension in the .mtn file, and this adds some channel parameters of principal BSDF materials which can be toggled on or off while exporting and playing with the settings. Additionally, the Wayland windowing environment is now supported in addition to X11, and Windows now allows Windows Explorer thumbnail of Blender files at maximum resolution. At the same time, there is also some very nice improvements that deals with animation and rigging. And in this case, we're looking at the NLA. With this release, adding an action clip now fails immediately if no NLA track is selected. And once you push down an action to a new NLA track, this now automatically gets the name. But I did try this for some reason that doesn't seem to be working, but hopefully this might either be an error from me or probably there's going to be an update to this. There's a driver mute within the driver editor, and at the same time, there is a redo panel which should exist within the NLA, dope sheet, and timeline editors. So this is more like it for those who like to come through and take a look at all of these amazing things, and probably you like to check on some of the cool features that are now available for the Python API and text editor. Links to this is going to be in the description, so do well to check it out. And for those who are thinking about exploring this wonderful splash screen, this is about a 1.something gig of file, and there is also going to be a link in the description that will get you directly to start downloading this. Blender 3.4 is now here, and this is more like a complimentary update to some of the nice features and improvements that have been happening within the 3. Series. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section. And of course, if you like this video or you learned something from this, you can go ahead and give a like, and don't forget to share with a friend. And until I see you guys in the next one, peace.